But what Black Lives Matter has, has tried to push forth is we want equality throughout the system within a country that is supposed to be governed by the people. The numbers are, and statistics, as the old saints like to say, if it ain't black and white, I can't get with it. What the statistics stay black and white, and every research and study, is that the oppression of the black culture and the black people of this nation has surpassed phenomenally any other culture or race within this nation.
Yes, definitely. And all 5 points, and I must ask you, I mean, how do you feel about what you're seeing people doing by hijacking this case and using it for their own agenda? Because what I'm seeing is they're doing more harm than good. They are not helping the situation at all. They're not helping the family. And what they're doing is actually a disservice. You know, they claim to be all for the children, but at the same time, all you're doing is using this child to be your battering ram or whatever you need to get your point across about all lives matter, which I don't understand why you're still fighting that point.
Well, I will, if you let me chime in real quick, I will accredit this to the fact that throughout this Black Lives Matter movement, there has been a lot expunged and exposed about the higher ups, those 1%ers. We all are very aware of who they are. Having it's sickening to even say the word on air, but pedophilia associations. Now, there's been this big realm of a hashtag Save Our Children that goes across social media, which started subsequently shortly before this event was ever to occur. Mm-hmm. So the Save Our Children hashtag now has sort of turned into this all lives matter agenda again. So I don't have a problem with the Save Our Children, because we do need to save our children, because there are deep and dark forces that are working against the younger and the adolescent people of this world, and especially of this continent.
And I will get into that a little bit later on the show, definitely. Because you're right. We definitely need to talk about the higher ups, the 1%, and what's going on with the sex trafficking and the pedophilia all across the board. With celebrities and with government officials, it's so deep. But yes, continue.
But with that being said, and definitely I'm looking forward to that. With that being said, this agenda that's being pushed has withered away from the conception of we are fighting for justice. They're trying to turn it into a complete racial segregation and a racial division across this nation.
Yes. By
using this to be able to push, saying that the agenda does not care about any other race right now besides black. We need to concentrate on all races. Yes, all races have always mattered, because at the end of the day, we're all people who have been created with just different visions and different outsets, which makes us different, should make us stronger. Because if you've ever noticed that any situation where you put a group of people together that all think alike and all have the same drive and goal, sometimes what happens is, and more often than times, you have one of those people who's going to think a little bit stronger than the other.
Yes.
One of those people that's going to think a little bit weaker than the other. And eventually the paths will differentiate.
Yes. And what I like to say is also, once America wakes up and realizes not us versus us, and it's us versus the 1%, that's when we wake up, because we're fighting each other. It's simple. We should not be racist. You have common sense to know that people are different. People do not need to be judged by a color that they can't even decide or pick. You come in as what you are, This is common decency that in 2020 across the board we can't get. And the problem that I have with people who go so hard in the paint to support people like Donald Trump is that you see a man with racist rhetoric. You see that we feel a certain way about him, and you're so proud to hoist him up as if he's a godlike figure. It's amazing to me, and it also shows deeper underlinings about your character. Okay? We have a president right now who just never ever says the right thing. He doesn't ever sound articulate. He sounds ignorant every time he talks. I just watched a damn interview with him holding up stats that were incorrect, saying that America is doing great with COVID. We're one of the lowest numbers as far as rates of cases in the world, which is not true. We're actually number one. You know what I mean? And this is ignorant stuff that's coming out of his mouth, and his followers just go with it blindly. And I know I might have some of y'all listening right now. I know. Don't turn your radio off. I want you to stay right here, because this medicine is good for you. It might not taste good, but it's going to be good for you going down.
It's like that medicine your mama used to give you back when you were sick, or your grandmama.
That's that Robitussin.
You ain't want it. Ain't want it, but I promise you, after you wake up, you're going to feel good.
You can wake up with that tussin hit you and that Bengay get on your chest, boy. You wake up as a whole new man. Oh, my God. Shout out to the old school. I tell you, I got an old aunt that told me the other day. She said, boy, if you ever get sick, don't go to no doctor. She says, go ahead and boil you some onions up and cut them up and put it on your chest.
I heard someone tell me, put them in your sock, boy.
Yeah, they put it, yeah. I said, well, hold on now. I'm going to put some onions on my chest. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I'm telling you, boy, put some onions on that chest, take your head of that cognac. Very true.
Yeah, it's a whole different story nowadays. Nowadays, you give a kid a little bit of rum on their gums when they teeth, and you child abuse.
That's very true.
Back in the day, boy, they put them right on to sleep.
I will say,
right up.
I probably had rum at the age of 5 years old, something like that. It was not bad. Please put it on the rocks. All right, moving right along. But also, I just want to get y'all opinion on that, and I'm going to take a poll on this. It's going to be somewhere along the lines of, do you think this situation is being handled correctly? Do you think that America's reaction is the right reaction? Something along those lines. I'll get my poll guys on it. They took the week off last week. Y'all got poll guys, y'all. I got people that's doing things for me. I don't even know why they doing it. Because I ain't paid them yet. Got a tech guy too. Appreciate it. Shout out. All right, moving right along. So I wanted to move on, y'all. Since we've been talking about Trump, we were talking about this politics. We're in the politic world right now, but we're in the real politic world. All right. Before we move on, we got a comment here. Okay. We got a comment from Mrs. Jalisa. Shout out the old lady. She said we should wake up based on the fact that we're all at the bottom being ran by people at the top who don't know what it's like down here. That's very true, y'all. We're being ran by people who have a different agenda that doesn't fit for us. Do you understand that? You are being controlled and ran by people who don't have your best interest in mind. They have their interest in mind. You know what I mean? And their interest is, hey, we clamping down, we controlling every damn thing. And as far as these resources, they might thin out. So we're going to make sure we off some people. We're going to put some diseases out there. We're going to put some, some cancer in your Gatorade. We're going to do anything. Okay? You have to really understand that. Because if you really living in a world like I was when I was a young 16-year-old thinking that we're happy-go-lucky, America's the best place in the world, and we're here to save the world, and everything's great and fine, and, you got to wake up. You got to see the writing on the wall. Okay? And I'm going to move on. I will actually, since my listeners are liking what we're getting from Mr. Antonio Reed, I'm going to keep them along for a little bit of this because I like to get someone else's perspective on these topics. But I'm going to move on to Miss Kamala Harris, the VP representative for Joe Biden. You all have heard. I'm going to move on to her and Biden versus Trump. Now, here's what I'll say. Shout out to Darnell and Carnell. Okay? I'm going to shout out them because I will say they have dropped facts about Kamala Harris and her past against minorities. Her legislations, the things that she was involved in. You know what I'm saying? The reasons that you kind of got to look at it sideways and say, really, is she here for the benefit of the people?
I feel like, personally, it's a gimmick. Myself, personally, if you have been in tune with any kind of social media, whether it be a news outlet, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, wherever that may be, I'm pretty sure you followed and seen where there was a hashtag that had surfaced and became quite popular that Biden needs a black woman to run with him to win. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, do you all not realize that we live in the technology and the social media age? So when things get to running and popping, things get to snapping and crackling on social media, things get heard. Things get pushed. There's a reason why the Black Lives Matter and Justice for All, No Justice, No Peace hashtags were modified throughout social medias to where certain ones was allowed to be posted and certain ones were not.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
So we have to pay attention to these small, minute details to be able to figure out what's really going on, because we're not going to get the full story regardless of how much information we search and try to endeavor ourselves into personally as individuals to gain more knowledge.
Very true. Very true. And I think what bothers me about the whole thing is, and I'll get on to this later on my Candid talk topic, is the fact that the choices that we have in America for our president of the United States, I mean, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like they prop up these people in our faces. It doesn't feel like a real democracy. They prop up about 5-6 people in the beginning and you kind of vote on down. And it doesn't feel like a real process. I'm in a situation where me as an active citizen of the United States, I want to make sure I vote. That's my right. You know what I mean? Definitely. But I get stuck in a parallel because anyone who does their due diligence and their research, both of these candidates are not fitting to run our country. And that really messes me up mentally because it's either, all right, it's quite simple. And you guys are going to say, he's tripping. But it's like either vote for a racist or vote for a pedophile. Or, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And I don't, before, I deemed pedophile on Biden before any, criminal just or any lawful things went through, no court system. I'm just telling you from what I've seen on my research on Joe Biden with him and children, it makes me very, 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 very uncomfortable.
Sick to my stomach.
It makes me sick to my stomach. If you look, right now, my listeners, some of y'all are all the way woke, some of y'all are half woke. You take time and you YouTube Joe Biden /kids, just watch the video. Just watch them. Plenty of them will pop up. There's numerous ones. There's numerous. Of him just being inappropriate, touching children in weird ways, grabbing them in weird places, doing things. There's a couple of them. You see the children are looking uncomfortable and scared, and you got the parents right there smiling because they're so happy because they're in the picture with Joe Biden. And
shout out R. Kelly.
Okay, shout out R. Kelly. That boy just took it left. Another gunshot. All right, he's the king of R&B. Shout out to Bell. All right. Let's get a little laugh in.
Y'all will get that on your way home after you to listen to it.
Yeah, you get it on. You'll get it later on. Okay. And I just want to say, man, it's just ridiculous. And, I look at people who, now I have, my black people who are posting Trump stuff and they're posting. I saw somebody post, and it's not a shot at nobody. It's not going nobody's neck. I'm just talking about the information. I saw somebody post a quote from Joe Biden in 1997. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me bring that back another 20 years. 1977. All right? A long time ago. A quote where he's against desegregation, saying he wants to keep it split. Basically. Okay, you have somebody black posting that saying Biden racist, stay woke, all this stuff. Bruh, you got Donald Trump in 2020 still talking racist every time he get on the goddamn mic. Come on. So how in the world, on one hand, can you be against racism and say you're supporting someone like Donald Trump? Because I done got to the point now, I don't care what nobody say. There's no debate for me when it comes to this. Either he's racist or he's trying to appear racist. Either he is this or he wants to appear this way to adhere to a certain fan base or a certain demographic or whatever you may call it. This is what he's on, people. This is what he's on. Okay, it's obvious. He drew the line in the sand, as you say. He really let you know this is where I stand when it comes to minorities, and I ain't moving off of it. Every turn, every single opportunity he has to help race relations, he goes the other way. Every single time. He will not. It's like it does something to him in his soul if he has to say something that's positive about minorities. Why is it like that? And why doesn't middle America reject that? That's amazing to me.
Sad.
It's sad. So I'm going to move on, and it's going to segue perfectly into our brother, Mr. Cat Williams. If you don't know, Cat Williams has dropped a new video out. It's just a short little 6-minute clip. I won't play the whole thing. I want to play an important part. I want you to